Councillor Silvitz, we are live streaming.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 3rd Heritage Richmond Hill meeting. I am Ward 5 Councillor Karen Silvitz, and I am the chair of HRH. This afternoon's meeting is an electronic meeting held pursuant to Section 238 3.3 of the Municipal Act 2001. We received regrets from committee member Brian Hatt for today's meeting. The public had the opportunity to submit written correspondence regarding agenda items by email to the clerk's office. All written correspondence received by 12 p.m. noon yesterday would have been included on the agenda, but none were received. The public also had the opportunity to apply to appear as an electronic delegation, either by video conference or by telephone by 12 p.m. noon yesterday. One delegation request was received and has been noted on the revised agenda. However, that delegate has since withdrawn their request. As chair of the committee, I will now call the meeting to order and ask for a motion from a committee member to adopt the agenda, please. Anybody? Just raise your hand. Diane, thank you. So moved by Diane. All in favor? Just raise your hands, committee members. Thank you. That passes unanimously. Okay, looking at our agenda. Item number 3, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof by committee members? Seeing none. Thank you. Agenda item number 4 is adoption of previous minutes, that the minutes of Heritage Richmond Hill meeting HRH 0425 held June 5th, 2025 be adopted. And as I always say, I trust all committee members have read the minutes. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, could I have a member of committee move this forward, please, so we may vote? Just raise your hand. Anybody? Thank you, Councillor Davidson. So moved. All in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We have no delegations. We now move to scheduled business. And we only have one agenda item today, which is agenda item 6.1. SRPBS 25065, Heritage Permit for 86 Major Mackenzie Drive West, Cottage Ada Mackenzie House, that Heritage Richmond Hill recommends to Council A, B, and C, and we'll go through that later on once we decide how we are going to move this. But if I could have a motion from a member of committee to move this forward so we can begin discussions, please. Just raise your hand if you wish to do so. Agnes, thank you very much. So moved by Agnes. Agnes, as the mover, do you have anything you wish to discuss?
Yes, I just had to unmute myself. I actually just want to ask a question through you, Madam Chair, to the staff, more in the sense of just a general comment. What happens in this type of scenario where you have homeowners where they've got a heritage home and they make changes to the heritage attributes? What, without getting permission first, what sort of repercussions or consequences are there? So if I can direct that to one of the staff, please, and thank you.
Thank you. Pamela, would you like to take that?
Sure. Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the question, Agnes. So it's one way that you can proceed if someone were to alter their property without receiving council approval is that we can formally charge them under the Ontario Heritage Act, and we can take them to court. And through court proceedings, we could force them to change the property back to what it was. They can also be fined up to $1 million, I believe. Wow. So that's one option. So it's something that we work with, and we advise property owners that if they don't go through the proper process, that could be one a penalty if they don't proceed the way that they are supposed to.
Thank you, Pamela. Agnes?
Yes, so specific to this property, if you're able to share this information, again, through you, Madam Chair, to the staff, how did this come to your attention? Are you able to share that with us or no?
Pamela?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. It just happened that a resident noticed this alteration, and then we were advised of it.
Thank you. Agnes, anything further?
No, that's all from me now. If I need to speak again, I'll do it on a second round.
Thank you, Agnes. Is there any other member of committee who would like to speak to this agenda item? Just raise your hand if you do. Councillor Davidson, you're up.
Thank you, through Madam Chair. Sorry, maybe I misread that. I thought we were designating this house. Is it already designated?
Pamela?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it's been designated for about 15 years now.
Oh, okay. So then they made the alterations. Okay, I misread it. Okay, I understand. Okay, so what are the repercussions of what we decide here today?
Staff is recommending that the changes be just formally recognized, so no further alterations or requirements are needed. It's up to the committee if they choose to do something separate or if they want to recommend different action forward.
Oh, okay. My mistake. My apologies. If I buy a house that's heritage, is it implied that, or it's on me to be informed that I'm buying a house that has a heritage designation? It transfers, right? And if I buy the house, if that house sold in the last 15 years and say the real estate agent or the owner never told the new owner this, it doesn't matter, right? It's incumbent on them to realize it and to act accordingly.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, that is correct. It is registered on title, so it doesn't stick with the owner. If you buy it, then I'd imagine that through like due diligence that you would be looking at the history of the property, the land title registry, and then confirm through there that it is designated.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Councillor. Next on my speakers list is Diane McLeod. Go ahead, Diane.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Silibets. What kind of precedent does this set for other designated buildings in the future?
Pamela?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Dan, for the question. That's a really good point that we have to worry about what kind of precedence this sets. And I feel this is, from my opinion, and if the committee feels differently, like that is their right to have a different recommendation, but that it's the combination of the two alterations that makes this a little different. If this had been a property where they simply removed the front entranceway, without having that vestibule, then I think it'd be a little bit more nuanced in our approach to this. But because that vestibule has been created, that front entrance is no longer visible. So that was my biggest concern, was the removal of that front entranceway. But now that vestibule is in place, the front entranceway, the door surround, the door itself is no longer visible from the public realm. So the impact to the cultural heritage value of the property, in my opinion, is minimized. Another interesting thing to note is that when the property was purchased by Ada Mackenzie back in the early 20th century, she made some drastic alterations to the property. When she bought it, apparently it was in very bad shape, and she had to replace many of the original elements with recreated elements. So we're not 100% sure whether that front entranceway or that door was original. If it was for a property that we know for certain that this door is original, the door surround is indeed original, and it was removed, I think our approach would have been slightly different than it is today.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Anything further? No? Diane, you done?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on committee wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, yes, Councillor Thompson, I'm going to come to you in just one moment. I'll just make my comments here. Thank you, staff, for bringing this forward, and to whomever out there in the ether had the foresight to tell us about this. I greatly appreciate it. I find this very concerning, but I concur with Pamela that it could have been worse. And we have what we have now. It is what it is. And the one question I want to ask Pamela is, have I imagine that you've looked at the house, that you've looked at the renovation. Did you see any damage to the outside of the house or to anywhere where this renovation took place, or did you give a hairy eyeball over the rest of the house to make sure nothing else has been done?
Yes, Madam Chair, I couldn't see any further damage. It seemed like the alterations were limited to just the front vestibule, the front entranceway.
Okay, thank you. Do one more question, and then I'll come back to Agnes, you for a second round, and then I'll come to you, Councillor Thompson. Just one moment. Pam, do we send out notification to our designated homeowners what they are supposed to do if they should they wish to make any renovations to the property? I mean, are they aware of this beforehand, or does it just become something that maybe or maybe not they're going to ask?
Yes, that's a very good question. The onus right now is on them to reach out to us to ask what they're able to do and what the process is. We've noticed that there has been a lot of change in ownership over the last couple of years. So we are trying to create some sort of outreach education program to advise property owners of the appropriate process if should they want to alter the property, and my contact information and just like a general FAQ about how alterations can be done.
I think that would be prudent, because it also helps refresh everybody's memory as to what they should or shouldn't do. But given your assessment professionally that there is no damage done to the house and that what has happened here is simply unfortunate, I'm okay with these recommendations. If there was damage to the house, I definitely would put in an amendment to have this further investigated and perhaps find this heritage homeowner. But I think we've bottled it up, and hopefully this homeowner now understands that should they do anything further to this house, they are going to have to contact us first for a heritage permit. Thank you, Pamela. Agnes, just one moment. For the first round, I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson, who's outside of committee, but you are part of the first round. Go ahead, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much. And Pamela, thank you very much for the responses there. That was some of what I was going to ask as well. Just quickly, though, and I definitely appreciate the communication side of things. I think, that is something that we do need to look into. But having said that, how often do we actually come up with a scenario like this, like in, say, the past 10 years, as an example?
That's a great question, Pamela. It is very rare, and that's another reason my thought pattern is what it is. Correct?
Yes, Madam Chair, yeah, through you, Councillor Thompson. I'm sorry that you're feeling sick. First of all, I hope you feel better soon. I can't recall another example of this happening while I've been working with the town. With the city, and I started in 2018. So this thankfully is not something that happens very often.
Right. So it does make me wonder how much time and effort we should spend into trying to educate the people out there, if it seems to be working for the most part, that when the transfer of property gets done, that people get educated through the lawyer or whatever, that type of thing. Did I understand correctly that this particular front door was a defined attribute, or we're not 100% sure?
Pamela?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it was a defined attribute. And when we dug a little deeper into this, we have an assessment report that identified, it did some research on the property, and it concluded that it should be a heritage attribute because it supports the architectural design, the style of the house. But whether it's actually original or not, that's inconclusive.
Got it. Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you for allowing me to chime in. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Okay, so let's go to a second round here. Agnes Parr, you are first, and then Timothy Cheng. Go ahead, Agnes.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I just want to follow up with Pamela on one of the points in your one of the responses. You mentioned the committee having other options. So if we were not to, like, what other options would we have if we didn't approve the recommendations from what have been brought forth today? Can you elaborate a little bit on that? And I do also want to thank the resident for reporting this as well.
You bet. Pamela?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. One option, and this is something that staff were also considering, is that you can deny the approval of the heritage permit, and you can recommend that the property owner be required to recreate that door. However, because of the way that this worked out, there's nothing to tie that requirement to. Usually when we have some sort of alteration to a property that we require or that we demand of a property owner, it's tied to some sort of other application. In this case, from my understanding, there is nothing that we can tie it to, so we can say, yes, property owner, you must recreate that door and you must remove the vestibule. But unless we go through the formal process of charging them under the Ontario Heritage Act and going to court, there's no way of really enforcing that. For that reason, we don't believe that it's worth that fight to go down that path.
Thank you. Agnes, anything further?
No, I completely understand what you're saying, Pamela. We kind of have to weigh the pros and cons of it all. And so I do understand that. And it's great that we're having this discussion, because with your expertise, you're shedding, some further light on things and a greater understanding as to why, decisions that have been made that you've made. And at this point, the door and the surround, they're gone. And the fact is, they're gone. And you did mention that Ada McKenzie made major changes. And so if we can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that what was removed is or isn't original, then we don't really have a case to not approve what you're recommending.
Yeah. Pamela, you concur?
I agree. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all, Agnes?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Timothy, you're on.
Through the chair, I just have a question, which I think you may have, have discussed it, I may have missed, is when the property change hand, is the fact that is a heritage property registered on title?
Yes, it is.
In the land registry record?
Yes, I believe so. Pamela, can you confirm?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it is registered on title.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I missed that. Thank you, Pamela. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you, Timothy. Annette, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, Madam Chair. I read the report last week, and I read it just before the meeting. I just want to make sure that I understand 100% what is happening, what we're deciding. So we're not asking the owner to recreate the door and front of the house. We're just approving as it is. Is that what we're deciding here today?
Good point, Annette. Pamela, that is correct, right?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, that is what we're asking, for us to recognize the change has happened, not that we're asking them to revert it back to what it was like before.
Okay.
Anything further, Annette?
Well, through you, Madam Chair, it's just sad.
Yeah.
I wish we would be able to recreate it, but apparently it's possible. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. In this particular case, it's that balance, and we can't really do that. So it's not going to be. It wouldn't be worth the expense that the city would have, the expense and effort that the city would have to go through here, because that door, we don't have any evidence or any information on it. So what would we be doing? As concerned and upset I am about this, there's very little else for us to do except to say, okay, we now know it's done, and move forward with these recommendations. But it is very troubling. I agree with you. Councillor Thompson, I see your hand up for the second round.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question for Pamela. Would this not normally, this type of work normally require a permit? I mean, I realize it's under a certain size and square footage and so forth, but would that not have required a permit outside of heritage, just like if it was a regular property?
That's a good point. Would they have had to apply to the city for a renovation permit just for that?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. My understanding is that yes, they were also required to submit a building permit as well.
And they didn't?
From my understanding, no.
Okay, and that's a very good point, Councillor. So building didn't come back with anything on their end that should be done, that should be undertaken for this purpose.
Sir, could you repeat that?
Building didn't come back to us for that anything should be done, should be taken further, because they also went ahead and did a renovation on a property that they did not have a permit for.
No, so we've been discussing when this came up and came to our attention, and we both building and heritage, we conducted our own investigations into what happened and decided next steps from there. So I'm not sure exactly what building is doing now, but just in case any of the committee members are wondering, I just want to clarify also too that should a building permit ever be received for a heritage property and the property owner has not applied for a heritage permit, we are usually flagged as part of the building permit process.
Yes.
So the property owner would be advised that aside from, in addition to the building permit, you also must go through the heritage permit process.
Pamela, perhaps you could contact building and ask them for just to give us a minor report via email as to what, if anything, there is a follow-up from building side, and send it out to us through an email. I think that perhaps the committee would feel more comfortable with that.
Of course, yes, I'll reach out to them.
Thank you, appreciate that. Councillor Thompson?
That's where I was heading with all of this. So I guess basically, if I heard you correctly, Pamela, building would be handling this as a separate issue from heritage, even though in the other direction, they contact you when there's to find out on a heritage property if a permit had been required. But we're not doing it in the reverse, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Through
Yes,
you, Madam Chair. Yes. So I was alerted to this alteration first, so I did advise building, and then they are doing their own process, but I'm not sure exactly what that entails.
Okay. So they may or may not take further action that we're just unaware of at this point. Okay.
That's
correct.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Pamela. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak on the second round before we close this down? No. Okay, just from my end, just to wrap it up, this is very concerning. I trust that the homeowner, the delegate who removed their name, is actually online and listening to this. And as the Heritage Committee chair, I would respectfully ask that should you wish to do any further alterations to your property, that you please get in touch with Heritage and Building first prior to doing anything, so this type of matter can be avoided in the future and the heritage aspect of that house is appropriately protected. So, given everything that we've discussed here and everything that's been said, I do agree with the recommendations, and I don't believe that going any further on this would have any positive effect for the city at all. It's just highly unfortunate that this occurred. So we have a motion moved by Agnes Parr that Heritage Richmond Hill recommends to Council, agenda item 6.1A, that staff report SRPBS 25065 regarding heritage permit for 86 Major Mackenzie Drive West, Highland Cottage, Ada Mackenzie House, be received. B, that the heritage permit application to recognize the construction of a vestibule on the front facade and the removal of the front door and original classic door case at 86 Major Mackenzie Drive West, as described in staff report SRPBS 25065, be approved. And C, that staff be authorized and directed to do all things necessary to give effect to this resolution. So we have this before us, motion by Agnes. All those in favor? Raise your hands if there are any. Okay, are there any objections? I see one, Diane. Okay, so we have one objection. Two, Stephen, second. Okay, so thank you. So we have two objections. So that that only passes. It doesn't carry. That only carries. It doesn't pass unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so the only other item we have is adjournment. But before we go there, Stephen, did you want to say something, or is your hand just still up? You're good. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Deputy Clerk, can you confirm with us the date of our next meeting, please?
Thank you. Through the chair, the next meeting of HRH will be Thursday, September 4, 2025 at 3 p.m.
Thank you very much. So that's the date of our next meeting. We are closing for the summer. And I want to wish everybody on committee and outside of committee and all our staff as well a very happy and enjoyable summer. Stay safe, stay cool. And we look forward to all the work we have left to do in 25 into 26. So on behalf of the committee, I wish you all a wonderful summer. And thank you very much for your attention to all the sometimes challenging issues that we have to deal with at Heritage Richmond Hill. And to Councillor Thompson, thank you for your attention to this committee. It's greatly appreciated. Get well soon. Thank you, everybody. May I have someone move an adjournment, please? Anybody on committee? Barbara, thank you. So moved by Barbara DeMambro. Everybody raise your hands if you approve. Everybody approves. That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful summer. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a wonderful
Thank you.
summer to you.